I have changed styles more times than I can count. Every time I did so, it felt like a matter of life and death, like something inside me had shifted and it needed to be shut out to the world. I am here, I exist, I am worth. As a child I was branded as the bad kid, so everything I liked was wrong, every decision I made was wrong, and I was not even allowed to choose my own clothes. So I guess that during those days, when you feel so powerless against that authority figure, I began to associate appearance with control. Hi everyone, I'm Caroline and welcome back to my channel. I turned 43 recently, it was my birthday this past week, and while I'm not very big on birthdays because, well, aging is just a very strange process, it got me thinking about my life, my choices, how I got here, and also about how I have always used fashion as a way to anchor my identity to the world, as a way to state, this is who I am, this is what I am, and this is what I represent. But I have changed styles more times than I can count, and every time I did so, it felt like a matter of life and death, like something inside me had shifted and it needed to be shut out to the world. I am here, I exist, I am worth. As a child I was branded as the bad kid, so everything I liked was wrong, every decision I made was wrong, and I was not even allowed to choose my own clothes. So I guess that during those days, when you feel so powerless against that authority figure, I began to associate appearance with control. For example, I remember that during my teens I was a huge Alanis Morissette fan, I love her to this day, but during her second record era she used to wear skirts over pants, and it wasn't a daring look, it wasn't a revealing look by no means whatsoever. So the first chance I got, I bought a skirt, cut slits through each seam, put it on, and I was just ready to go out, when of course I was told there was absolutely no way I could walk out that door wearing that. So what I would do was just hide that skirt in my backpack and put it on outside, but of course I had to do it in secrecy and always be scared that someone would see me and tell my parents because, well, it was a very small town and that was something that could happen. And all in all, I think that this produced an adult with low self-esteem who needed something external to tell them who they were and what their place was in the world. But now, looking back, I see more than just clothes. I see a map, a trail of my identity stitched together, trying to survive and trying to find a place in the world. I know that this is by no means everyone's experience, but I think there is a universal search for identity through fashion. So the first chance I got to control my appearance, I chose to go goth. And thank God there are no photographic records of this era, but you have to remember that this was before social media and before digital cameras. I'm talking about 2001. I was barely out of high school, I was living on my own for the first time, but I remember that all I wore was black, I had smudged makeup, and I even remember drawing tears down my cheek. I guess I was a bit dramatic and even explicit, like I was wearing my pain on my skin for everyone to see. I needed everyone to see me and realize that I was not in a good place, that I was going through something and that I was in pain. I guess that deep down I needed my parents to see that, but of course they never did. But it also gave me a sense of power, and now looking back I think that it actually makes sense that after a childhood where I felt like I had absolutely zero power, I would go to the exact opposite and wear the style that made me feel the most powerful. Then in my early 20s, and those who are my age will probably remember this, it was all about the Olsen twins Boho street style, so I began to dress like that, or to try to dress like that. By that time my pain had quieted at least a bit and I was looking for a softer look. But this style I associated with a sort of effortless urban poet trying to purge their pain into something positive. So these days were all about long skirts, scarves, messy hair, creation, poetry, politics. And it's amazing to me how one can derive so many things from just clothes or an outfit, but that was how I needed to feel at the time. I had all this pain inside and I was like, well, what do I do with it? Do I live with this pain or do I change it into something else? And after the very explicit goth era, I guess that with this style I began to define who I was. And just like that it changed again, because by my mid-20s I went full-on hippie style. I quit my job, went backpacking through Latin America, got a waitressing job, and I wanted to reject everything status quo. I didn't want to be aspirational, I didn't want to look polished, I didn't want to follow trends, I just wanted to feel free. And it is peculiar to me because as I'm telling you this, I realized that I went from absolute zero power to absolute power to power through change to change it all. Like, there is something psychological in there, I'm sure. I didn't feel like I could win the game, so I just quit the game. I was so against the system and what the system represented, and I remember I had a friend who said, well, I could never do that, I am very much in love with the system, so I thought, well, that's the problem. And now I can see that it was just about the sense of entitlement and superiority. I felt better than her because I had the courage to do something she didn't. Maybe she just didn't want to do it. Eventually though, I got tired, came back to my country, got my job back, reinserted myself in the system, and then I went vintage. I wanted to be the odd one out, the different one, the unique one, the peculiar one. I wanted to be seen, but in a positive light. I wanted structure, rules, something that was rooted in past decades. I wanted to feel like an old soul in a way. Like I was born in the wrong time, but this is who I really was. By the end of this time, I even wanted to go full Victorian or Edwardian, but of course I couldn't because I still had to go to work and look in a certain way. But I wore so many ruffles that I think I had a ruffle overdose, and now I don't want to see ruffles for the rest of my life. By my early 30s, everything shifted again. I was watching a YouTube video about an oil painter and my mind said, well, you can do that. So I took up oil painting, and of course I had to go full-on artsy girl. It was all about simple sweaters, aprons, paint-stained jeans. Well, humans are the ones I'm talking about in my last video. I'll link it up here somewhere if you're curious. And I can see how limiting that can be. Well, I am this. I am a painter. There is nothing left behind it. This is who I am. But I don't think this style was about painting or drawing. I think it was about the art of creation itself. I used to say that I was my ultimate work of art, and I think that after all the stages I had gone through, I was trying to finally create something that stuck. Of course it didn't. And that leads me to this day, and even now if I think about the way I dress, I think I can see little snippets of each and every one of these personalities or identities that I went through, because after all, humans are a lot more complex than being just one thing. There is more than just one side to each and every one of us. I think I'm all these identities combined, but now I don't feel the urge to define who I am and to put it on my skin and to scream it to the world. In my 40s, I just don't want to reinvent myself anymore. There is a cost to going through all these changes every few years because, well, you end up changing a lot of your clothes. I think that it is interesting how you can trail back and see a psychological or emotional process that I went through to try to find myself after being told that who I was not good enough. So I'm just tired. I'm tired of this urge to scream to the world, I'm here, look at me, this is who I am, I'm worth it. Like, no, not anymore. I just want to go about my life without this need to build a persona or an armor to face the world so that when you see me, you see someone who has worth. Like, I have worth, whether you see it or not. And I'm not talking particularly about you, of course, I'm just talking about life in general. And while all these changes might make me look emotionally unstable, and believe me, I was, I think that it was what I needed to go through to get to where I am today. And I wouldn't be able to be here without going through all those changes. Because after all, identity is not a destination, it's not something fixed. It's that inner conversation you have with all your identities, with all the versions of you you left behind, and with all the versions of you that you will become. So I hope you liked this video, and well, see you next week. Bye!